What is up, guys? Private Eye Russ here, and welcome to another episode of the Private Eye Russ podcast. We're going to be reacting to a video about how this woman's talking about paternity laws and how they are behind the times, and I agree wholeheartedly. Again, I am Private Eye Russ, owner, operator of a full-service private investigation and security consulting company with tons of experience and a lot of talented and dedicated people who have a lot of specialties, from everything from corporate theft investigations, whether you're talking about physical material embezzlement or intellectual property. I personally have a ton of experience with this sort, and we have an incredible team. Criminal defense support investigations, litigation support investigations. Paternity fraud is one of our things as well too, but that's also goes along with some of the infidelity cases we do, as well as corporate due diligence reports. Whether you're talking about the corporation itself or the corporate or the executive team, we can help you. One thing we're getting a lot of calls for are pre-long-term relationship or marriage background investigation. So if you want to find out if your spouse or future spouse has been honest with you about their past activities and their life, we can help you get a look into their past so you can make an informed decision, which is all any of us should ever ask for. So reach out to me at Russ at privateiruss.com. That's RUSS at privateiruss.com. Alternatively, if it doesn't get through there, because sometimes my business email filters out people's email. If you got a shady email address, it's not my fault. Don't blame me. But you can reach out to me at privateinvestigatorruss at gmail.com. That's privateinvestigatorruss at gmail.com, or you can initiate contact via X. So anyway, fair use. Let's hear what she has to say and see if we agree or disagree. Fair use.
It may be a no-brainer to know who mothers a child. When it comes to a father, sometimes the lines can become a little blurry, and this is where paternity fraud has been known to surface, posing the opportunity for a lot of upsetting problems. And why not? Once a dad finds out he's not the biological father, there's a lot of pain and resentment to be expressed. And then, of course, there's the child to be considered, but that's for another video.
Yes, I've actually dealt with friends, even, man, who have been put on child support and paid child support for 18 years for multiple children. I know one guy personally had three children with the same woman. It turns out when they wound up doing one of the DNA, corporate tests or whatever they do for the genealogy, two of those three children weren't his, and that's not the first time I've seen that sort of thing happen. I knew one guy who had three children with a woman. Somebody had three children with her, but they weren't his. None of those children were his. All three of those children had three different fathers. And this is while he was married to her. And so paternity fraud, if you're not married, can pose a lot of different challenges. All right, if you are not, quick enough to get a DNA test. So what I mean by that, get a paternity test, and what I mean by quick enough is do not sign the birth certificate until you are sure of paternity. Unless you know that child is yours, do not sign the birth certificate, my friends. If once you do, trying to get yourself off of that birth certificate will take an act of Congress, and even then you may still be obligated to pay support, and that has happened a bunch of times. There are men right now who are paying child support for children that aren't theirs. There are men who have gone to prison for failure to pay child support for children that were not theirs. All right, so you have to make sure that you are actually the father. I know you trust her. I know you love her. However, just look, trust Private Eye Russ. I've seen this a ton of times. I've read this same story and seen this same movie a bunch of times. Make sure of paternity. If you're married, I don't know about every state, but I know here in the Sunshine State of Florida, if you are married and your wife steps out and has a child by another man, listen to this now, unless the other man is willing to claim paternity, you are financially obligated to take care of that child. That's family law. Don't get mad at me. I know people are like, "Oh, Private Eye Russ, you must be crazy." No, I'm not crazy. I am not crazy. I've seen this. I've seen it happen. I have really good friends who are licensed mental health professionals that work with the family court extensively, and she has recounted tales to me on multiple occasions of clients of hers that very same thing happen. That those children weren't the men, but the father was still financially obligated. Now imagine your wife, adding insult to injury. Your wife, the person you're legally married to, steps out, lets somebody go in there raw, and plant their DNA on your soil, and she bears fruit. Now you've got to water and care for that fruit until it's 18 years old because of a really archaic and foolish law that is only designed to protect the state. That's who is being protected. The state is being protected from, or the government is being protected from having to pay child support or welfare or whatever it is. So you need to make sure of paternity. You also need to make sure that your spouse is not stepping out on you. Sorry. So anyway, let's go. Let's keep going. Fair use. Fair use.
Looking at the U.S. population, experts believe as much as 4% of the dads out there are raising children that were fathered by other men. That may seem like a low number, but in terms of...
It is a low number. It's probably upwards of 10%. And people say, when I post things like, say, on X, I'm on X. Follow me on X at privateinvestigatorruss. Like, subscribe, share these videos, comment below. All those good YouTube things to feed all the YouTube and other social media algorithms. Please do it. Anyway, so when I post these things, they say, oh, it's only about 10%. Just like, the false accusations. Oh, it's only about 10%. Only 10%? Number one, those numbers are low. The 4% is ridiculously low. That is not an accurate number. That is not an accurate number. Now, I'll give you another number. About 32% of the men who have demanded a paternity test proved to be, not the father. So that was that was actually fraudulent. And obviously these are, you have to take that with a grain of salt because these are men who were suspicious in the first place. You should all be suspicious. You should all be testing. There are a lot of women out there who will let guys go in there raw, get pregnant by somebody else, and make you pay for it for the rest of that, until that child is an adult. It's not fair. You shouldn't be subject to that. Let the actual father do that. Let the mother sort that out if they're willing to do that. So anyway, fair use, but yeah, that number's low.
Children, that's anywhere from 5 to 7 million kids who are in the midst of paternity fraud and don't know it. In some cases, the father may not be raising the child, but rather paying child support ordered by a court. So what happens when a dad finds out he's paid years of child support, only to learn the child wasn't his? According to the link below the video, fathers who've been paying child support under fraudulent claims of paternity are not guaranteed reimbursement.
That's an understatement. Not guaranteed reimbursement. Here's the thing. You're not getting your money back. You're not getting your money back. That buddy of mine who found out that he was a victim of paternity fraud, and he actually did go to jail. He actually did go to jail first they suspended his license for not paying child support. Then they put him in jail for a little while. He got bailed out. Then he had to, he was in arrears and he had to pay for it and all the rest of that stuff. And when they found out, when they all did the DNA thing, let's find out where we all came from and our lineage and heritage and all the rest of this stuff and self-discovery. And there's nothing wrong with that, but man, that has been the cause of so many raised eyebrows and divorces over the years. It's not even funny because there are a lot of women out there that are lying about who the father is. All right, so he actually went to the state and tried to see what he could do to get his money back. The state of New York is the state in question. And as far as I know, nobody gets their money back. You will not get that money back. The state is like, yeah, you did pay it. Yeah, you were defrauded. And any other way, people would be obliged to pay back the money because that's, fraudulently getting a check is theft. Here's the problem. The problem is that the state gets a percentage. It's a management fee or whatever it is. They get a percentage. So they're getting a commission off of every dollar that goes to take care of that child that you have to pay into child support. And there is no guarantee that that money is going to actually take care of that child. So it is a rigged game. It is a rigged system. Before you sign a birth certificate, make sure you are actually the father. Anyway, let's keep going. Fair use.
Most states in the U.S. have laws that may continue to hold the non-biological father financially accountable until the child's 18.
80% of the states, I think maybe even more in this country, with few exceptions, if they find out later on retroactively that you are not the father, if you've been put on child support, again, it's going to take an act of Congress pretty much for the most part to get you off of there. Now, there are some judges out there who will actually be fair, but most of the family court judges are not on your side. If you are a man, you are there to be kicked around and victimized. That's just the way it is. So keep yourself out of that trouble. Cover your stuff up. Protect your seed. Don't plant your seed in crazy chicks. Don't just plant your seed willy-nilly all about the place. Get to know these women. Hire my company to do a background check to make sure she doesn't have any red flags that you would not want your child raised in. Do you want your child raised in a or you want some crazy woman to be the host of your seed? I don't want that. Anyway, fair use.
But why is that? Well, if you can believe it, paternity fraud, it's not a criminal act.
It's not illegal to defraud you. Paternity fraud is illegal in every other case, but in the case of something that's this serious, that can cost you that much money, time, effort, emotional discomfort, and pain, it is not a crime. Just like, and I did a video exposing one of these companies that produces a product designed to steal your sperm and impregnate women. It is not illegal, okay? Sperm jacking, sperm theft. I made a video about this. Maybe I'll make a follow-up video about this about another company. Sperm jacking and paternity fraud is not a crime. All right? Keep that in mind, guys. It is not a crime. But if you stealthily remove a condom while you're engaged in fun bedroom activity with a woman and you get her pregnant or give her an STI or whatever else it is, guess what? You can be convicted of battery. Depending on the state, that can be battery. If you give her some sort of communicable disease, STD or STI, whatever you want to call it, that could be aggravated battery. So again, the deck is stacked against you, not Dak. I'm talking about Dak Prescott. There's a whole nother thing. But the deck is stacked against you. Be really careful. Anyway, fair use.
It can become a civil case in certain states, such as Texas, but there's no guarantee of favorable outcome for the victims of paternity fraud. Now, this is primarily due to the fact that mothers don't have to prove paternity in any situation. Men can request paternity tests, though this can be an offensive demand, leading to added stress.
All right. Women will get offended if you demand a paternity test. Who cares? You guys need to stop caring about what women think. Do what's best for you. Protect yourself. Again, you are up against it in the most extreme way. I cannot stress enough how much the family court system, and even in a lot of ways the criminal court system, are against men. They are not your friend. Stop trusting them to do the right thing. They're not going to do the right thing by you. They're going to do the right thing by that woman and that child and by the state. You are going to be kicked to the curb and left homeless and whatever else. They don't care. Anyway, fair use.
Needless to say, paternity fraud laws have a lot of opportunity to catch up with the times. What about you?
All right. So, and again, yes, they are. Are they going to change? I don't know. It depends. Men have horrible voting records. They'll just vote for people willy-nilly. Women will vote for people that are going to give them what they want. Men will vote just to get it out of the way in many cases, which is why the country and the world in general is in the state it's in. Men need to get be a little bit more responsible about their vote and understand that you are going to be constantly under attack from so many different ways. Women, you can't blame them for doing what they do. This is just their nature. Just like you wouldn't hate water for being wet or the sky for being blue. Don't hate women. Don't get angry. Just understand what goes on and understand the game that's afoot and understand how to protect yourself from losing that game. Anyway, it's your boy Private Eye Russ. Like, subscribe, share. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching the Private Eye Russ podcast. There'll be more to come, guys.